I do if I was Premier of BC? Well, that is a question with a million and one answers, but I think personally I would begin with something that I am most passionate about and something that I feel needs the most attention, and that would be arts funding. It has been an issue since I can remember, and I've been in the arts since I was, well, old enough to walk. So I have given fellow artists a chance to have their voices heard. Their passion and talent speak for themselves.
Mama, the weeping, Mama, the angels, no sleep in heaven or Bethlehem.
Hi, my name is Dana Anderson and I am a second-year student at the Canadian College of Performing Arts, which is a program partially subsidized by the Canadian Heritage Art Society, which makes my tuition manageable as opposed to completely out of my financial bracket.
Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. It's not warm when she's away. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone, and she's always gone too long. Anytime she goes away.
One really great thing that arts funding has done for me is we worked with a mentor at school to create 10-minute works, new 10-minute plays, and there's an event happening at CCPA that exists partially because of a grant from the BC government called Scriptease, and my piece, Species Deviants Repent, was selected to undergo further work with a dramaturge and to get a second reading at Scriptease. So without funding, that wouldn't have happened.
I'd sooner by defying gravity kiss me goodbye. I'm defying gravity, and you can't pull me down.
Yeah, it's just really a shame because BC really does support its artists, and there's so many artists here in British Columbia, and I think that there's a good community for it, but there just isn't enough funding, and lots of people are forced to travel to other provinces. I know tons of people who go to the east, to Ontario, because there's just more schools that, you know, have the funding to nourish the young artists, or they have to go to the States. I myself, in fact, went and studied in Los Angeles because there's just more options for work, there's more options for studying and networking, and if British Columbia had more funding to give to the arts, then perhaps there'd be more careers and people would find more success and less disappointment in this very nourishing life of being an artist.
Like, where are we going if we're not going somewhere artistic? If we're not going to a place where we can represent our current society through the medium that we've always known.
The measure of a society is in its integration of the arts into everyday life, and I feel that it's so important for our government to support our artists and our future generation of artists, because we need to have the ability to express ourselves and the issues and the values of the next generation to come.
It scares me that I'm devoting hours and hours of my life and my blood, sweat, and tears to this profession, and theaters are closing left, right, and center.
So, what would I do if I was Premier, you ask? Well, it's as simple as this: funding for the arts, and to an extent that is way greater than what it is now. And I would make sure it was in various forms, beginning with schools, high schools, making auditoriums. The school I went to didn't even have a theater. If we were lucky, we got one play a year. Some of our best talent is coming from new young faces that are trying to break through the industry and make a name for themselves, and they can't when they're starting from scratch and starting with nothing. And those are the companies that we need to focus on the most, because those companies are our future. Those companies are the ones that are going to be shining one day, but without the government support, no shine. But most importantly, I would practice what I preach. It's one thing to hand over a check, but it's another thing to show your support. So, after hearing from some amazing voices, I hope you have a better understanding how important it is to me and our province that arts funding improve, heighten, and nourish this community. Well, until further ado, your Premier, Chelsea Beamish.